Hey guys, hope you're all doing well. Unofficial Star Wars here, and in today's video we're going to be talking about The Bad Batch Episode 5 with the breakdown and things you may have missed, along with some theories and predictions at the end of the video, so stay tuned for those. Let's get right into it. Of course, as I always note, there are spoilers for The Bad Batch Episode 5 as well as the past episodes. Click off now if you haven't seen them. Okay, now into the video. Alright, I'll be completely honest with you guys, I really thought this was quite an amazing episode, and it really caught me by surprise, especially with that ending. I really did like the ending there. We'll get to that in just a moment. However, of course, starting out at the beginning of the episode, we see that the Bad Batch are rather than staying low on the down low and kind of just staying out of trouble, they are retreating and looking for help rather than that, and focusing more on who's after Omega, and that's really their priority, and it looks like it's going to be the priority throughout the different episodes of the season 1 that we're going to get. Of course, us, the viewers, already know who's after Omega, and it's Fennec Shand. However, the Bad Batch, they don't actually know who Fennec Shand is, and they don't know why she's after her, and to be fair, we quite honestly don't know the complete reason why Fennec Shand is after Omega, and for that, we don't know who hired Fennec Shand to begin with, but it's seeming that a lot of theories and predictions are hinting at that it is Kamino who hired Bubba, who went on to hire Fennec Shand. Of course, that's not confirmed or anything like that. We don't actually know that. It's just really a rumor or a theory or a prediction, rather, because of the appearance of Bib Fortuna, who we see in Return of the Jedi and at the end of The Mandalorian Season 2. Which was really kind of our hint at the Book of Boba Fett show, kind of like a little teaser right there setting up and an announcement for the Book of Boba Fett. So like I had mentioned in the previous breakdown video, it's kind of what the show is doing, I think, with Fennec Shand having her in the show, is not only is this telling the story of the Bad Batch after the Republic era and moving into the Empire, where it's just kind of a no man's land almost, but I think it's also going to set up a lot of heavy character development that we're going to see in the Book of Boba Fett, primarily between Fennec Shand and Boba Fett. Now, of course, this opening scene when they are looking for Sid, and Sid is literally right in front of them, but just doesn't tell them. I don't know why she kind of did that. It was just kind of weird, honestly. Perhaps she was just messing around with them, or didn't actually want them to know her identity because she could tell that they were clone troopers and couldn't quite tell quite off the bat if they were actual clone troopers or if they were modified clone troopers that had been affected by the Order 66. Only have I seen countless theory and prediction videos on this, but I myself have made this as a theory many of times in many of my videos, and this only adds on to it that Omega is possibly actually Force sensitive. Besides the fact that she's just a curious kid and is pointing out the obvious in some sort of manner or aspects that, hey, you're Sid, but it's just that whole other idea that she is Force sensitive and could use the Force to kind of tell and point out that that is Sid right there. I'm looking at Sid, I'm talking to Sid, hey, you're Sid. Of course, you guys get the idea. Sid sends the Bad Batch on a mission to rescue a slave mission who we think is Munchki, as in we think Munchki is a person, but rather than that, it's actually a Rancor. Of course, we've seen a Rancor before in Return of the Jedi, and this, my favorite theory or prediction so far out of this episode, is that that's the same Rancor that we see in Return of the Jedi. A lot of people have been saying either it's the exact one that we see in Return of the Jedi because just the way this whole timeline actually kind of works out, or that it's the mother of the Rancor that we see in Return of the Jedi because the two names don't exactly line up. Another thing I noticed throughout this episode is, much like we saw at the beginning of episode 4 last week, is that the Bad Batch are kind of getting used to acting as normal people rather than cloned soldiers. Like we hear Tech say, this isn't your standard military operation, so it really does catch the Bad Batch off guard when they're attacked by these monsters, and it's kind of a cool reference towards King Kong versus Godzilla. I mean, really, who doesn't love a good old monster fight? I for sure really do. However, something wonky I did kind of find out with the Rancor, and when we first actually saw it after Omega lets it out, is I couldn't exactly tell if it was actually a Rancor. I was just like, what on earth is that? Is that some sort of monster we haven't seen before? I really just felt like the animation looked a little weird on it, and so did it actually on Bib Fortuna. Just that whole animation style looks a little weird, but I couldn't exactly tell if it was a Rancor, so I had to wait for the word, hey, that's a Rancor. But besides that, I absolutely love the animation. I've been loving the animation for these past 5 episodes. I think it's absolutely amazing, and I think they've done a really great job with it. So after this whole tussle that we have with the monsters, Wrecker takes on the Rancor to assert dominance, I guess, and it tires him out. And I also want to mention a little thing about Wrecker that we have been seeing since I think about episode 3 or 4 here now, is that he's hit hit his head multiple times, and he hit his head multiple times when he was fighting the Rancor throughout this episode. And not only that, but at the beginning of the episode, he does complain about a headache once again. So it is really leading on that this is more than just a headache, and that his inhibitor chip has been activated, and that he will either turn on the team or they will hopefully find Rex soon enough. Of course, the whole Rancor fight was really awesome to see between Wrecker, and it really did kind of show him what he could do. It showed us what he could really do and what he's capable of, and it really kind of shows him, I guess, at his peak of what he's at. Not only that, but it really shows us the strength that a baby Rancor really does have. I mean, that's pretty crazy. Also, it was pretty awesome to see Omega in some action that actually made sense. I feel like throughout the last couple of episodes, I've been a little iffy on Omega and her character that she has with the Bad Batch, that whole association. I mean, a kid doesn't belong with a group of soldiers and getting in life and death situations. Now, of course, they are adding in that whole storyline and plot that the fact that she is being hunted down and that she needs these soldiers to protect her. So, of course, in that instance, it really does make quite a bit of sense, and I really did like that action that she did get in this episode because it makes sense. They didn't just have her in there to have her in there, to have that kind of kid or character and the action and kind of involve the kids, I guess, but it actually made sense what she was doing in the episode, and I really did like it. Also, it was really cool to see her not only pick up one of the bows that one of the slave traders had, but she also gets Crosshair's old Crom link in case she's in trouble and needs to contact the team. Not only that, but it's also kind of like a nice little callback towards episode 4 when she does get lost from the Bad Batch and separated from them. Not only that, but she is being hunted down, so they don't know what exactly is going to happen with her, and they are kind of preparing her for that. They're kind of covering up their mistakes that they have made in order to avoid those future mistakes of her possibly getting separated and taken away. Talking about Sid, however, to kind of end off this whole episode type of review and then going into our theories and predictions. Thanks so much if you're still watching. Sid was an interesting character, and I'm really glad that we got to meet them. I'm really curious on which Jedi was actually working with Sid before in the Clone Wars. It, of course, had to be some sort of troublemaker, possibly like Anakin Skywalker, but probably not quite him, because I think we would have seen that in the Clone Wars show actually happen. Just pointing out the obvious, it couldn't be somebody like Mace Windu or Master Yoda, somebody up there that's really up in the Jedi Council. It'd have to be someone, guess, that's just kind of more out there. Maybe my guess would be kind of maybe like Plo Koon makes some sense, I think, or maybe even like Kit Fisto at that. Of course, I'd like to cover that in a future video, so do be sure to hit that subscribe button when we can talk a little more bit in depth about who exactly was the Jedi that was working with Sid before in the Clone Wars. The other theory and prediction I had mentioned earlier on in the video is that Bib Fortuna, I think, may play some sort of bigger future role within the future series, but not, I don't really think, as big as Fennec Shand or possibly Boba Fett. And I think seeing that the last time we saw Boba was in The Mandalorian Season 2, just not chronologically time order, but just in the times of things coming out, and we saw Boba was with Bib Fortuna, it just kind of makes some sense that it would kind of lead on to it. It's kind of like having Obi-Wan and then having Anakin maybe trailing right behind him. Also, like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I really did think that this whole episode was kind of mediocre until the end when we saw Bib Fortuna come pick up this Rancor, and I was just putting 2 and 2 together. That has to be the Rancor that we see in Return of the Jedi. Either way, it has to be connected to it, whether it's the mother or if it's actually the same one. Let us know down in the comment section down below. And while you're down there, let us know your theories and predictions of the future episodes of The Bad Batch and what you thought about episode 5. I'd love to hear what you guys think. Of course, drop a like on this video if you did enjoy it, as it really does help with the channel, and check out our Instagram, Unofficial Star Wars, for more Star Wars related content. Of course, hit that subscribe button to stick around for future Star Wars related videos, and hit that notification bell when a new video does come out. And until next time, the Force will be with you, always. Peace out.